Okay, welcome everyone. This is our, what is today, June 10th, 2025 LibsWork meeting. My name is Andrea Lewandowski. I'm with the New Jersey State Library. If you don't mind introducing yourselves in chat, that would be excellent. We have a small enough group, so if you are able to unmute at any point to ask questions or discuss, you're certainly more than welcome to. It always helps to hear other voices, or at least keep me from talking the entire meeting or for a big chunk of the meeting. I love to hear from all of you guys. So a couple housekeeping notes. This is our last LibsWork meeting until the end of the summer. So we're taking off in July and August, and we'll be coming back in September. If you have any topics that you would like to see explored, any suggestions for speakers, if you'd like to facilitate any meetings, please don't hesitate to reach out. You get a lot of emails from me, so you should have my contact information, but I'll also put it in the chat. It was a little bit trickier, I think, this year to make sure that I was covering a variety of topics, especially since my work has been taking me more into the digital equity, digital literacy sphere. So I don't want to move this group too far away from workforce development, business development. So if you have any speakers or you're hearing anything, please let me know, or please don't hesitate to reach out to any speakers that you may be aware of, because we'd love to make sure that they're able to participate with this group. And then the other thing is, I don't know if anyone's going to the ALA conference in Philadelphia. I will be there. So if you will be there, I'd love to meet up. So you can just say in the chat if you're going to be there. I know Megan Janicki will be there, and some other familiar faces from the library world. So hopefully if you will be there, then we can bump into each other. And I think that's basically all I have. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our our guest speaker today, Carlo D. Did I say your last name correctly? Okay. From NC IDEA. And he's going to be discussing Don't Sleep on Libraries. NC IDEA is waking up to the power of libraries as entrepreneurship hubs. So Carlo, take all the time you need. And everyone, if you have questions or anything that you want to share, please be sure to use your chat or unmute yourselves at any point.
Great. Thank you so much, Andrea. Really thrilled to be here and to be plugging into more of the library's world. As Andrea mentioned, my name is Carlo D. I'm in Durham, North Carolina, in the Research Triangle area of the state. And I work, as Andrea mentioned, for a foundation called NC IDEA. And I'll talk more about what NC IDEA's mission is here in a moment after I start sharing slides. But broadly, we exist to support entrepreneurs throughout North Carolina. I am seeing some other connections, though, to other folks here based on your introductions. So thank you for that. Hillary in Kentucky. I'm learning that here in Durham, Duke is our hometown university, and I believe Duke just lost in baseball to a to to the Kentucky team, Morgan State. So congratulations there. Rose Smith, I've not met you yet, but you're in Charlotte Mech, and I know lots of the Charlotte Mech folks, and would love to get you plugged into what's happening here. Others as well. Beverly, I grew up in California, took a couple of classes in the Cal State system when I was in high school. So lots of great connections. So before I get going, I'd kind of like to get I always like for things to be useful, and this is my teacher background coming in. Actually, let's make that part of my informal introduction. My background is as an entrepreneur, and I started a language learning company called Haiti Hub in 2000 and wow, a while now, 2011 became my full-time work. to help people learn the Haitian Creole language so that they could do better, more effective, more respectful work in Haiti. And that was my real entry into the world of startups and entrepreneurship. But I was always drawn to education. That's why Haiti Hub was always an educational product. And I was probably never going to make it out of this life without giving classroom education a shot. And so I went back to school, got MAT and my teaching credential, and taught entrepreneurship for 5 years in the Durham Public Schools system. And so I feel very much a kinship with public librarians and librarians in general because I feel like y'all are cousins to public educators and classroom educators of all stripes. So I very, very much respect, admire, and want to support the work that y'all do. I also have some guilt around abandoning the cause, so I like to try to help as I can. So yeah, that's my informal introduction. So yes, basically, I want to make sure that this is a useful session for folks. So I have a whole thing prepared on NC IDEA and how we are engaging now with libraries and really stepping up our involvement with librarians and trying to support the business services work that is happening throughout our state and throughout the country. But before we get into that, I'm just sort of curious if you could digitally raise your hand or put it in the chat or physically raise your hand if you've got your camera on. How many folks are already familiar with the library's Build Business Playbook? And, Andrea was talking about Megan Janicki a minute ago. Who knows the LBB playbook already? Yeah, one, two, three, three. Okay, yeah. So three of y'all here. So this is I think a fantastic starting point. I mean, if this session does nothing else other than introduce you to the library's Build Business Playbook, then great. That's what I could hope for. All right, Jay, you're also familiar. Fantastic. And Beverly, that is too kind in the chat. Thank you. My guilty teacher soul thanks you. So the LBB playbook is, I think, honestly, one of the finest, really strongest pieces of applied research and writing. It's just wonderful, and it really is a playbook on how libraries can support the entrepreneurs and business owners in their communities and not only start some new work, but also strengthen the business services work that's already happening in your buildings. I think it is clearly written. It's actionable. It's fantastic. That work was done by Megan Janicki in her role with the ALA. And was funded with, I think, about $2 million of Google.org money. So really a great team put that work together, and it's phenomenal. So that's linked in my slides, and I bet Andrea will be able to share those out with you afterwards. Awesome. Thank you, Emily. Appreciate that. Um, okay. All right. Um, just to start out, if based on what you know about what this topic is going to be, were there any questions sort of top of mind already, or the things that y'all were hoping to get from this conversation? And I can tailor what I talk about here for the next 20 minutes or so to some of those issues or questions or hopes about what you'll take. No, that's fine. All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and start a screen share here and talk a little bit more about what NC IDEA is up to with the libraries in North Carolina. So, all right. Okay. Quick thumbs up. Is everybody seeing my screen okay? Y'all are awesome. Fantastic. Great. So,
Actually, wait, I spoke too soon. The share
uh-oh.
went through, but it still says loading.
Oh no. Goodness gracious. Let's see here. Let's see. Mhm. Let's try that again. All right, any better? Or still
So
no?
it's showing the editing view,
Hmm,
but I can see them. I just see like your little slides on the left.
that's bizarre. Okay, let's try this.
There
Does
we
that
go.
improve? Yeah. Does that do it?
Yep, good job.
Fantastic. Great. Thanks for bearing with me on that. It's probably because I'm not in my office setup. All right. If you would come off of mute if you end up having a question. I've got some minimized tabs here, and I'm worried that I might miss any comments in the chat. So feel free to interrupt at any time. So here we go with this little talk here. Don't sleep on libraries. NC Idea, we truly are waking up to the power of libraries as entrepreneurship hubs, and I'll talk much more about that here in a moment. So, uh, successful businesses can get their start at the local library. You already knew that, but we did not, honestly. And I have a feeling that y'all would agree that perhaps many in the general public do not know this. So who do I mean by we? Well, this is the NC Idea team and myself. We are a small but mighty team here in Durham, North Carolina, and there are 10 of us. And our goal, like I mentioned, is to support entrepreneurs broadly. Our official mission statement is to strengthen the economy of North Carolina through a strategic combination of grants and programs deployed directly and through a network of partners in furtherance of our big vision to help people achieve their entrepreneurial potential. So grants and programs, those are the two main things that we do. NC Idea in North Carolina is most well known for our grants, which is free money. We think that's the best kind of money to very, very early stage entrepreneurs. And then also our programs. And on the program side of things, we're doing lots of things to try and equip entrepreneurs with the skills that they'll need. But in terms of what is available to anybody, we have really one main offering, and that is an entrepreneurial mindset curriculum. And so this is available to anybody. You don't have to identify as an entrepreneur. You don't have to own a business, which are requirements for some of our other grants and programs. But for our entrepreneurial mindset curriculum, this is something that we think should be as widely available as possible. And we think that people thinking and living more like entrepreneurs is just going to be better for their communities and for their 9-to-5 jobs and for their neighborhoods and their families. So we are very, very big on entrepreneurial ways of thinking and living. So the main way that we've been involved with libraries historically has been through a partnership with EBSCO, who has made our entrepreneurial mindset curriculum available through North Carolina's statewide library cooperative, which is called NC Live. And I'm sure many of y'all in your own states have something similar with a cooperative that provides access to many, many member libraries, to lots of different tools and databases and all kinds of things. And it's through that partnership with EBSCO and NC Live that this curriculum, which is sort of powered by the Ice House Entrepreneurship Program, has been available for many, many years to patrons as long as they are accessing it through their local library. Now, we did kind of what we always encourage entrepreneurs not to do. So we didn't take our own advice. We had a thing that we liked a lot, this entrepreneurial mindset curriculum, and we said, I know what, everybody's going to love this. Libraries will definitely love this. If we make it available to librarians, they will definitely start using it immediately with lots of patrons. They will be very gung-ho on creating these cohorts of 8 to 10 people. They'll definitely want to get all those people back uh, for 6 to 8 weeks in a row, and they'll love it. And probably you're already thinking of the ways that that's not a great fit for all the different, because of all the different responsibilities and other demands that are on librarians in busy libraries. So you knew that also, but we did not. So we tried it this first way several years ago. This was also right before the pandemic. And as you probably would guess, we did not have a ton of traction. Not that many libraries were using this curriculum and helping their patrons have this entrepreneurial mindset training experience. So we kind of went back to the drawing board, and through many, many interviews with libraries and librarians here in North Carolina, and doing lots of connecting to the libraries world, which is how I got connected to Andrea through Megan. Janicki, we kind of came up with something different. And this new offering that we're starting to pilot now for libraries in North Carolina is truly built around the Libraries Build Business Playbook. So this is that resource that we were just talking about. And like I said, I find it to be one of the highest quality, it's really a roadmap, one of the highest quality roadmaps to getting libraries to really supercharge the entrepreneurial communities that they serve. Um, I think it's wonderful for many, many reasons, so much so that we decided to make it the focal point of a professional development experience for librarians here in North Carolina. We were trying to answer this question of, all right, how might all of North Carolina's libraries put the LBB playbook and the communications toolkit, which is another part of what LBB has produced, how might they put that into action? And so we had an idea about what we could offer to librarians, but I think the smartest thing that we did was we just started having focus groups with librarians and asked them what would actually be useful in terms of helping you with your business services, and what would you actually want to take part in? So that sort of landed us with this pilot program for what we are calling the LEAF program, which stands for Libraries for Entrepreneurial Advancement Fellowship. Took a lot of the guesswork out of things by just giving librarians what they were asking for. So I'll spend a little bit of time talking about what this program is and how it has looked in the pilot, and then I'll close with a little bit more information about how you might identify an ESO partner that could spearhead similar efforts in your own setting. So what it is, the LEAF program is a partnership between NC IDEA and my team with NC Live, who I mentioned is the statewide library cooperative, BLINC, which is a chapter of NCLA that stands for Business Librarianship in North Carolina, and with the support of our state library, the State Library of North Carolina, to pilot this groundbreaking fellowship program. And we really wanted to value librarians and empower librarians to support their entrepreneurs and the small business owners in their communities. That values piece is so huge to me, and you know, this comes from some of my former teacher scar tissue, coming out of these past 5 years teaching entrepreneurship in the public school system. I ended up saying this a lot during the course of the pilot, that public servants deserve nice things too, damn it. And I kept saying that, and the cohort sort of took it up as well. And that is, I'll die on that hill. We don't get nice things all the time, but we deserve nice things some of the time, you know. And if what we are asking librarians to do is provide really high impact business consulting, well, then damn it, for at least a day or two, we're going to treat the librarians closer to consultants and less like the underappreciated public servants that that you and that teachers are. So, what is the actual program structure? It is a professional development experience. It's cohort based. So at full implementation, it'll be 20 to 25 librarians that are going to learn together and become a supportive professional community for each other. In terms of timing, we're following a 2 days plus 12 weeks model. So things kick off with an immersive off-site 2 day skills building summit, and then that's followed by 12 weekly 1 hour virtual meetings. So things really start with fellowship or with relationship building and getting everybody in actually in the same room. And then there's this virtual component that helps to reinforce. So the model obviously is hybrid. It's a total of 30 hours. The first 18 hours are in person, and then hours 19 through 30 are remote. And then there's also going to be an all fellows gathering one time every year for everybody that has become a LEAF fellow over the last 12 months. Fully funded and nice. This is the nice damn it part, right? And NC IDEA covers 100% of the program costs. That includes food, hotel, transportation. We want to make the fellowship accessible to everybody. And the pilot just happened with a slightly smaller cohort of 15, just to try this out and see how it goes. The when and the where is here in Durham, North Carolina. But really, I think the important piece to get from this is that it wasn't only in a library and it wasn't only in NC Idea's headquarters. We did want to make this feel like we were building up some of the connective tissue between libraries and entrepreneurial support organizations, even at the same time that the in-person skills building summit was happening. So we had multiple locations, including Durham's downtown main library. The key benefits for fellows, starting off with confidence. Through some of the customer discovery that we did, we really learned that confidence was one of the things that librarians really wanted. We sort of surfaced this idea of a little bit of imposter syndrome among many of the librarians that are doing business services work in North Carolina. Folks that said, yeah, I kind of just got turned into the business services librarian, or, you know, my background, I was a medievalist, and that's what my education is in, and now I'm supposed to work with businesses. So there's this element of confidence building that was very key. Knowledge and skills, definitely some of the discrete skills and knowledge base around business concepts and entrepreneurship terms, but also just folks wanting to feel more adept with some of the tools that are specifically available to librarians through NC Live. I'm sure many of you know some of these tools like Social Explorer, ABI Inform, lots of really powerful things, but you do need to feel a little bit comfortable enough to use them. Benefit number 3 would be a network. You're getting plugged into many of the supportive communities that work with entrepreneurs, and building up those connections between those organizations and entities and the library is hugely important. And then, of course, support. NC IDEA has sort of another wraparound set of supports for fellows that includes directly helping with collection development, curated book lists, helping with designing programs, and we have some high hopes for launching a business plan competition that can be a statewide offering. So a competition that will take place throughout North Carolina, but you can only access it by going to your local library and working with your librarian. Here's some of the session topics that we landed on for the 2 days of this experience. We started out with a "What's your why?" Moved into "Business is not a dirty word," which was only possible with Andrea's help. That entire session was really something that came out of Andrea's involvement with the Libraries Build Business Playbook. So definitely a big debt of gratitude for that session in particular to Andrea. After that, we had How to Speak Entrepreneur, sort of a crash course in entrepreneurship terms and sort of the mindset of an entrepreneur. We had NC's entrepreneurial ecosystem to start familiarizing librarians with more than just SCORE and the Chamber of Commerce. That's sort of the number one and number two things that people already knew about, but there's so much more out there beyond that. We did a tour of the historic North Carolina Mutual Life Tower, where NC Idea's offices are located. We had an entire session on sharpening your NC Live tools. So helping folks with some of those library-specific resources like Data Axle, Social Explorer, so that they really knew how to use those effectively. And then capturing and communicating your impact. This was a huge demand for this piece. So not just how to do the work with patrons that are interested in starting a business, but how do you capture the data around that impact that you're having, and then how do you communicate that out to stakeholders, both internal and external, so that you can show your efficacy, so you can justify your work, so that you can get more funding, not less. I mean, got to imagine that's got to be somewhere. We can't only ever have less money. Um, After that, we had a session on how NC Idea and our network could help specifically, and then we had an entire session and a half on starting your LBB project, having folks pinpoint a very small, bite-size project that they could work on to either start or strengthen one of the business services offerings that is available at their library. So that's what it looked like. Our outcomes that we're aiming for here, we want librarians to feel empowered, supported, and connected and valued in the work. And we really wanted folks to end up feeling like the business services interactions that they were having were some of their favorite things to do at the library. In terms of patron founders who come to the library, we wanted them to be really uniquely equipped to succeed in their business and to take those important next steps. And we really wanted the local library, like I mentioned earlier, to become known for high impact consulting, not just free help. We want the ALA's Libraries Build Business Playbook to be operationalized across North Carolina. And we think if we do this right, we could end up being a national model for how to drive equitable economic development through public libraries and ESO partnership. And then lastly, alongside North Carolina's libraries, my organization, NC Idea, we move closer to our goal that we've had for many, many years of activating the entrepreneurial potential of 100,000 North Carolinians. Turns out that's a really hard number to hit if you don't have some really great, strong, embedded, trusted, valued, amazing partners in the communities. I have not found anything that fits that description like libraries. Here are some of these session facilitators and Leaf supporters. It's a smattering of university, public. Megan Janicki is there down in the bottom right with ALA, and Sarah Grancy is the State Library of North Carolina's Director of Library Development. So good cast of really amazing and extremely knowledgeable and really strategic supporters here and facilitators. We have this tagline around this, that the LEAF program is all about growing entrepreneurs at their local libraries, one leaf at a time. Thank you, ChatGPT, for your help with with that. Here's the program, the LEAF program pilot's timeline for this cohort. The applications obviously have closed, but the pilot really just happened a few weeks ago for the in-person component, and now we are squarely in the virtual sessions. So tomorrow we've got session number 2 coming up out of this series of virtual once a week sessions to build on the momentum and to build on the relationships that were started during the in-person skills building summit. Here's a quick photo of this inaugural pilot cohort. Really just an inspiring group. And I found them to be so special, but I also know that among librarians in North Carolina and beyond, that level of passion and commitment and talent, I think is really quite pervasive. I'm never going to tell this pilot cohort group that they're not special, but I just know that it's not just the 15 of them, right? There are so many librarians that are also very eager, able, willing to launch into more of this partnered work. So let's talk a little bit here about library and ESO partnership, just in general. So ESO stands for Entrepreneurial Support Organization, and that's a sort of an industry-wide term. And so even just searching for ESO or Entrepreneurial Support Organization will uncover some things in your community. And often ESOs are nonprofits, many are foundations like NC IDEA is, but ESOs take other forms as well. There are ESOs that are sort of public-private partnerships. Some ESOs are just entirely provided for by state and sometimes federal funds. Things like Small Business Administration, which I'll talk about in a moment. Lots of things. SCORE is also an entrepreneurial support organization. They clearly have done the best job of partnering with libraries. SCORE tends to be one of the very first things that business services librarians know about and know to plug patrons into. So this term ESO is an important one and a powerful one. Conferences are also organized around this title of Entrepreneurial Support Organization. There was a really big one, GEC, that just happened in Indiana just last week. Another great convener. So I kind of want to just close a little bit here on strategies for identifying ESOs, so that perhaps you could create a similar partnership between libraries and an organization that might want to do something similar to help equip and resource librarians in your state or in your county or city. So obviously the first thing to do, and I'm learning this and relearning this all the time, just you should ask other librarians. Like y'all are the smartest people in the room a lot of the time, or have the most connections and are able to share the most resources. So I think groups like this that Andrea leads, and groups like the Libraries Build Business community, and then any other networks of business librarians in your area are going to be the best first place to stop. After that, it is useful to plug into groups like the Chamber of Commerce and the Small Business Administration and just ask about area ESOs. So they in themselves, the Chamber and SCORE and SBA are great resources. But if you're looking for something that is a little bit more targeted to your particular geographic area, I would ask them. Some of these groups are going to be able to plug you into ESOs that work in your space. It always makes a lot of sense to contact nearby university centers for entrepreneurship and innovation. So many universities have some sort of I&E, innovation and entrepreneurship department or center, or some efforts around innovation and entrepreneurship. And those university centers tend to be very, very plugged in as well. So not only are they a good thing to plug into to explore some of these possible partnerships, but they would also be able to refer you to others. Co-working spaces. I love visiting local co-working spaces that focus on startups. It might actually be one of the other fastest ways to get very, very plugged in to the entire startup ecosystem in your area. I would specifically ask about funding and grants. So any of these co-working spaces that focus on startups should know about some of the sources of money, right? Because the entrepreneurs that are members of those spaces are always searching for that next investment or that next grant that can help them to take their business to the next level. So asking about funding and grants will plug you into some investor networks, but also into some of the ESOs like NC IDEA that give non-dilutive grants to early stage startups. I will say that in terms of strategies, you're probably looking for a foundation if you're trying to recreate the partnership that has happened here in North Carolina between NC IDEA and the public libraries system and major players, the key partners there. So that's all that I've got here for the screen share. So I'll stop that here now and check the group chat here for some questions. I did see things coming in. I just was afraid to stop my screen share once we had it working. Beverly saying, love cohort-based trainings. They have an impact. Absolutely. In our post in-person surveys, that was the number one point of feedback that that people were sharing with us, that they really valued that time to connect with the cohort and build up relationships. Amanda saying, I've been in good cohorts and not so good cohorts. It's all about the people and the ability to encourage productive collisions and ongoing relationships. Amen. Amanda, that is well said. I totally agree. And I think that there will probably always be a focus on quality over quantity with the LEAF program. This number of 15 it actually felt pretty full at 15. We have this idea of expanding it to 20 or 25 in the full rollout, but honestly, 15 feels kind of nice. I don't know that we would ever go over 20, because I agree with you. You got to encourage people to be vulnerable, about the challenges in their roles. You have to encourage people to be willing to share and to get involved. What's the budget for this project if someone wanted to recreate it in another state? Okay, that's a fantastic question, Beverly. The budget for this in the version that is nice things, damn it. I actually think that is a really, really important part of this. It strikes me as like hypocritical to ask anybody to ask a librarian to do high impact business consulting and then to feed them, Subway or something. I mean, I like Subway. I eat Subway. But if somebody was telling me to be a high impact business consultant and they fed me Subway, I would be like, well, there's some mixed messaging going on here. So the part of it that, was a four-star hotel and nice food and happy hours where the drinks and the appetizers and the dinners were on NC IDEA, I actually think is a pretty key component of this. So taking that into consideration, I was just crunching the numbers and it was right under $800 per participant to do this. Obviously, you could do it for much cheaper, but I'm big on valuing librarians. And obviously, we started this call off talking about the cuts to so many areas of y'all's work in the library world, and obviously everything that's happening with IMLS funding. We really felt that as a foundation, it was a little bit our duty, our obligation to step in an environment where lots of professional development opportunities are going away for librarians in North Carolina. We felt that it was really, really important to offer something that was high impact and nice and really valued librarians in a moment when it feels like you are not being valued. So that's why it was important. So you could do it for cheaper. We did it for about $800 per participant. Let's see what else we've got. Did that include their travel costs? It did include their travel costs, but nobody was flying. Everybody drove. And we did have folks come from a pretty wide area. Many people were driving 150 plus miles for this pilot. But the nice part about a full rollout, where we'll be able to do 4 of these over the next fiscal year, is that we can have, one in the eastern part of our state, one in the western, one kind of by the Charlotte area. We'll be able to spread things around so people are not having to drive 3 hours the way that some of them were. But we did cover all of that at the federal reimbursement rate because pretty much every librarian used their personal vehicle. Rose saying that love showing Data Axle to patrons starting a business. Yeah, I had no idea what Data Axle was at all. Obviously, before starting this exploration into the libraries world, I've been blown away by the tools that y'all have access to and what is possible in a fairly short session to equip an entrepreneur or a small business owner with through things like Data Axle and other tools. Um, Carrie, of course, of course, we gotta value the librarians. I mean, no, nobody, not everybody loves libraries the way that my family and I do. But nobody hates libraries. Nobody is like, oh, those public libraries are the worst thing ever. I think that's why it's a very compelling sell, even if you are in a purple state or a dark red state. There's something really, really nice about um, libraries and ESO partnership. Over something like empowering local entrepreneurs. Everybody loves local entrepreneurs. I have never come across an argument from an elected official against entrepreneurs and small businesses. So I think that that's important. Um, does that include time for your project staffing for the full period of time? Yes, that's a great question, Beverly, as well. So, no, that does not include my time, and the that is one of the I think advantages to NC Idea's position and all this work. We had already had some libraries involvement, and I mentioned before COVID, we tried a different version of this of partnering with libraries that only kind of worked. So when I came into this role, these types of partnerships, including the work with libraries, was already in the job description. And so when I decided to kind of really enlarge the amount of time and effort and resources that were going specifically to libraries, nobody batted an eye. It didn't change anything in terms of NC Idea's budget or how they're allocating resources because my position already existed. If that answers the question. Great. And Andrea, I think we're all going to try to yeah. Well, I would I love libraries. I would come to all of your states if I could. Absolutely. But in the absence of that, that's why I was really interested in this opportunity when Andrea extended it to talk a little bit about this work and to support in any ways that I can. And granted, we're still so early. We're still figuring things out. This is still pilot stage. But to the extent that it's possible, I would love to be a resource in matching up some of the pieces so that you in your state or in your context can try something similar or related. I think there's just so much potential because my main takeaway is that the entire ESO world, and it's big, people don't know about it a lot of the time. I guess we're like libraries in that sense. But the ESO world is large. There's so many different organizations and foundations, public, private, like I mentioned. But I think hardly any of them realize what is already in place through libraries, that there's this built-in, super talented, really driven group of potential partners in librarians that they could reach out to. And I have a suspicion that if more ESO entities knew about what libraries can do, I think there would be a lot of interest in doing something similar, in supporting the work that libraries are doing to do all of the amazing things that are in the LBB playbook. So I'm please see me as an open resource. I'm sure Andrea, we can share my contact information out. But reach out to me, and I would love to help figure out some of those pieces. And NC Idea focuses on North Carolina, but we certainly know of ESOs in other states. Happy to the extent that it makes sense to play matchmaker a bit and to do an email that's essentially, hey ESO, this is uh, fill in the blank librarian with fill in the blank library, they're interested in some of what we are doing with the LEAF program. Maybe y'all can start a conversation. So uh, fantastic. Jay in Seattle has had success engaging with the ESO community. So that's all that I've got for planned stuff. But I'm happy to answer other questions or cede the floor back to you, Andrea. These are excellent questions. Really great comments here in the chat. So I appreciate that from everybody.
Yeah, so I'll invite anyone who wants to unmute. And if you have any questions or comments, anything to add, anything that's happening in your state or in your library, now is your chance.
And I did actually just record a tutorial, so I can email that over to you.
Okay.
I do have a quick question. I'm so sorry. It took me a minute to cook in my brain. It's
Thank you.
middle of the afternoon. It's hitting me. I did want to ask Carlo, in your experience, how much of this? So I get a lot of questions at my branch about starting nonprofits. To what extent would you say some of this stuff carries over? Because I feel like trying to get to a level of competency to where I'm able to interface with our patrons who are looking to start nonprofits, that's a huge ball of yarn that I'm not able to tackle. Do you know of any like partnered orgs or any other like sources? Because NC works kind of, but I guess just any resources you can think of.
Yeah, that's a great I mean that's a great line of questioning. So I will say that one thing that I like this only partially answers your question, then I'll for real answer it. One thing that I really like about nonprofits is that Andrea had this whole session that I mentioned of business is not a dirty word. The reason that there was a need for that in the beginning of the LBB project work is that librarians and even the people involved with the project sometimes had some negative associations with business. Like they thought business doesn't belong in the library. Business runs counter to the library's mission, right? We have rules against not being able to sell things or make money in the library. And also, I think libraries are public stuff is good and private stuff is kind of bad. And business is Amazon killing my local bookseller, and why would I want to support that? So that was the place where Andrea's session started, trying to not dismiss those things. I happen to agree in part with some of those things, but just to show how the work of libraries supporting businesses is important and does not run counter to the library's mission. That much of that work is really about creating equitable communities and places where people want to live. And many of the entrepreneurs that come to the library tend to come from underserved populations of entrepreneurs, so minority founders, female founders, all that stuff. So where this ties into nonprofits is that I really love being able to start with nonprofits and say, hey, maybe the work that you are doing in your library supports nonprofits and you feel great about working with nonprofits. Well, um, uh, that's not so far away from, say, a nonprofit social enterprise, right? That has sort of a earned income part of their mission, So like Goodwill stores, supporting the larger work that Goodwill does. And okay, right, if you're already at for-profit, if you're already at a nonprofit social venture, well, then that's not so far away from a for-profit social venture that has a mission at its core, and that's not so far away from sort of a traditional business. So I will just say that I love nonprofits for that. The other piece on like how do you build up your skill set around nonprofits specifically. Um, One of the other librarians, it might take me a moment to pull this up. Cassie Edifa Greensboro had a really, really great resource that she kind of used all the time, but I bet one of y'all will know. What's the main what's the main nonprofit thing? She said she watched webinars all the time. I was gonna look into it. It'll come to me. Let's see.
Is it Candid?
Yes, I was gonna say Canva. I kept saying Canva, but it's not that. Yeah, Candid. I don't know if that's a help to who was asking that question earlier? That was Rose. Yeah, she's thought that Candid was amazing. She also ended up doing some things with Candid so that she would partner with them so that yeah, awesome. Yeah, sounds like Jay, you've done something similar with Candid. So I haven't plugged into that yet myself, but certainly other librarians that are in the space are really awesome. So Amanda, confirming that the Candid is great. That would be kind of my first place, but probably all you genius librarians will have other thoughts, other recommendations. Cool. Well, great. It sounds like that was a new resource for you then, Rose. That's wonderful.
All right, everyone, we're coming down to our final minutes. So this is your last call if you have any burning questions. And yes, if you are not a Candid member, if you're not paying, there may be a location in your state or region where you can connect people to get that information, or they might be able to partner and do training and things like that. So thank you very much for posting links and additional information in the chat. And I'll make sure that that goes out in the follow-up email. So you still have a chance if you want to share any questions or anything else. But I'll just let you know that once again, this is our last LibsWork meeting before we take a break for the summer. There will be a recording that will be going out, and I highly encourage you to share this recording with your communication channels in your libraries, because if anyone needed a pep talk on the state of libraries, I think that today's session was definitely it. And I think that, Carlo, thank you so much, not only for the information you shared, but all of the kind words that you had and that respect for the value that libraries bring, especially to this space. So thank you very much. Definitely a bright spot in this week.
Oh, thank you all. Truly. Thank you for the work that you all have devoted yourselves to. It's some of the most important work. Somebody's got to save civilization. I guess that's what y'all are doing now.
Right. So thank you once more, and I will see you all in September, and look for the meeting recording. I'm going to stop the recording here now, if I can figure out how.